DreAllDay.com.
Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. 2018 NBA Finals are going to look just like 2017, 16, and 15 NBA Finals, in that we have the Golden State Warriors hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers for the fourth straight year. Now, before we get into the finals, let's talk about the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. I just watched Game 7. I'm recording this right after Game 7 of the West Finals Monday night. You saw Game 7. You saw Game 7 the night before with the Celtics losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers. First of all, the Eastern Conference. Boston Celtics have a very promising future ahead of them. I think they might have a glut of talent. I don't think everybody's going to stick around. I read something that Marcus Smart said he was worth more than 12 to 14 million. I think he'll be going after this season. I don't think he'll be on the Celtics next year. He'll be starting for some other team in the league. But they got Kyrie coming back, Gordon Hayward coming back. Then you still got Tatum and Brown. And I don't know. There's not enough basketballs to go around there. They're going to have to figure something out on that team. Now, as far as what happened in Game 7, I mean, LeBron James is LeBron James. I believe, looking around at social media, there's been enough positive things said about LeBron James at this point. I don't even know what other superlatives you can say about the man. What he brought to the table in Game 7 was absolute. It was a fucking masterpiece. Now, in the Western Conference, Houston Rockets went and got Chris Paul and geared up specifically so they could face this Golden State Warriors team to beat this Warriors team. Chris Paul gets injured, hamstring injury at the end of game. What was that? Game 5. He gets injured at the end of the game. Injuries happen. I mean, it happened to the Cavs the first year they played the Warriors in the finals. Kyrie was hurt. Kevin Love got hurt. Like, the Cavs had to keep going. Like LeBron had said back then, next man up. You got to show up with whoever you got. Injuries happened. The Warriors didn't do anything to make that injury happen. It just happened, and that's what happened. And Houston had a chance to win Game 7. They missed all those three-pointers. They had missed, I think there was 27 threes in a row. 27 threes in a row they missed. James Harden he scored 32 points, but he was missing a lot of shots. I think he shot the ball 29 times in Game 7. Eric Gordon and James Harden combined went 4 of 20, I believe it was 25. 4 of 25 on threes, while Kevin Durant and Steph Curry went 12 of 26 on threes. So that right there is the difference in the game. They only lost the game by what, like 7, 10 points, something like that. So that's the difference in the game. It could be the difference in winning a championship or even not even making it to the finals, is making those shots in the big games. And there was a stretch in that third quarter. The Warriors just blazed Houston in the third quarter of Game 6 and in Game 7. Both times at halftime, it looked like Houston was in control, but it's like you can't even get comfortable against this Warriors team. It only takes, 90 seconds for them to hit a couple threes in a row. Then the other team starts to tighten up. They start to get some momentum. The Warriors start to get some momentum. And before you know it, now they're up by 10 points. And you're like, damn, how you going to come back with a team that can shoot like this? And the answer is you don't. You don't come back, and the game is pretty much over. And for the last 4 years, this has kind of been the routine with the Golden State Warriors. They get you down, and you ain't coming back, because no team in the league has the firepower to match them, especially now that they didn't added Kevin fucking Durant, the second best player in the world, who can shoot just as well as Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and the dude's 7 feet tall, so he can go one-on-one with whoever, which is what he did a lot of down the stretch in Game 7 in the Western Finals. They had Eric Gordon on him. He was just shooting over Eric Gordon like he wasn't even there. Eric Gordon's like 6'4". We about the same height. He was just shooting right over him. Like didn't even matter that he was standing there. And what do you do on that? But what you do is put somebody bigger on him. Maybe a LeBron James, but then you got to still figure out Curry, Klay. So let's talk about the NBA Finals. I picked the Houston Rockets I picked the Warriors, actually. If you look at my Western Conference Finals preview, I picked the Warriors to win this series in 7. I forgot that Houston had home court advantage, but I did pick the Warriors to win it in 7 because I knew Houston was going to put up a fight. I knew they had a good enough team to put up a fight, but I said, no way. I just couldn't see them beating this team in 7 games. Now, if Chris Paul played, maybe it would have been a different story, but I end up correct kind of in a backdoor type of way, even though my prediction was directly factually accurate. With the NBA Finals, this Cavs team and this Warriors team, as much as it's not fun for me to pick the Warriors. The reason it's not fun for me to pick the Warriors as a pick is because everybody's picking the Warriors. I mean, why do I even need to make this video if I'm just going to pick the Warriors like everybody does? They have the better team. They have more talent top to bottom. if you just look at it logically, just from a basketball analysis standpoint, the Cavs don't have the firepower, they don't have the defense, they don't have the horses to go against this Warriors team and have any chance of winning, but they do have the queen piece on the chessboard. And if you know how to play chess, you understand when I say queen piece, that's a compliment. And Mr. LeBron James. LeBron showed us what he could do in the Boston series. He showed us what he could do in the Raptors series and in the Pacers series, because all three of those teams are better than the Cavs. And the Cavs still beat them. Had to go to 7 with 2 of the series, swept the Raptors. It was all because of LeBron James. Cavs did not have a better team in any of those series, in my opinion. Now, against this Warriors team, they definitely don't have the better team. The problem against the Warriors team, though, with all LeBron's heroics and how they just pull it out of their ass when they need it, is that you got a guy like Kevin Durant, who just happens to be the second best basketball player on the planet that LeBron has to go through now if he's going to win the championship. And Kevin Durant, he does not cancel out LeBron James. Even though LeBron's the best player in the world, I think he's better than KD. KD cancels out, if we're just saying skill for skill or ability for ability or production for production, KD can do, let's just say for argument's sake, 85 to 90% of what LeBron James can do. All right, we'll just put it there. Somewhere between 85 and 90% of what LeBron can do. That extra that LeBron has that KD doesn't have is not going to be enough to overcome the fact that the Warriors still have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, and the Cavs have nobody that's even close to the level of those two guys. Now, back when he had Kyrie Irving, this was a different conversation. Last year, I picked the Cavs to win the finals. They lost in 5, but they were actually good games in that series because you had a Kyrie who could go at a Steph Curry, and you can make that a matchup. Kyrie can outplay Steph, and LeBron can outplay KD. But now with the rest of the team, you can say your role players against our role players. We'll see what happens. And I know Klay and Draymond have made All-Star, but to me, I look at them as role players in the context of being on the team. This year, the Cavs, who they got? I mean, you got Kevin Love, but the guy has been completely marginalized on his Cavs team. Kevin Love averaged 25 and 14 his last year in Minnesota. They don't run the plays for him like that. He got to fit into LeBron's system. It's a LeBron system. Kevin Love got to fit in it. Without Kevin Love dropping 25, 30 a game, the way Kyrie was scoring 25, 30 with LeBron in 2016, there is no way that the Cavs can really compete in this series. Even though LeBron is great, he don't have anybody else who he can depend on reliably on offense. And defensively, I see, even though I don't want this to happen, I see the Cavs just getting shredded, torn apart in this series. That's what I see happening. Because number one, LeBron is their best defensive player, and it's widely known now that LeBron takes plays off defensively. He's figured out a way to rest while playing, or whatever the stories have been. He can kind of take plays off. He can't take plays off against the Warriors because they're going to be scoring so much. Offensively, LeBron can't take plays off because they're going to need to score on many plays. They can't have a 3-4 possessions where they don't score because they're like, all right, well, if we stop them from scoring and we don't score, then it's kind of like we just canceled those minutes out. That's not going to happen against the Warriors. Who's guarding Steph Curry? Who's guarding Klay Thompson? Who's guarding KD if it ain't going to be LeBron? Even LeBron ain't going to stop KD from getting his points. So they got to score points. And so LeBron has to be active in all 48 minutes of the game for them to win. I even remember watching the last 2 years finals. If LeBron came out of the game for even 2 minutes, I specifically remember this last year's final, he would come out of the game for 2 minutes, and the Warriors are going like an 8-0 run in that 2 minute span. I'm like, yo, LeBron can't come out the game again. Because that 8 points right there, the game's over. The Cavs couldn't come back from it. There's no way with a lesser team with no Kyrie Irving that this Cavs team is coming back from a double-digit deficit against this Warriors team with the kind of defense that the Cavs play, which is not a very good defense at that. So, number one thing is LeBron can't take plays off on offense, and he damn sure can't take plays off on defense because the Cavs don't have, who do the Cavs have they're going to put on a KD? I think we're going to see some Jeff Green on Kevin Durant. Now, Jeff Green can get in there and do something. Now, who's going to guard Steph Curry, and who's going to guard Klay Thompson? Now, guarding Klay Thompson is not like he's going to break you down so much one-on-one, but he moves around so much. He uses those screens very well. He has a quick release. If you have a mental error of not paying attention for one moment, you lose Klay, that's a three-pointer. Guaranteed. Steph Curry. Somebody has to actually guard this dude. Because he does the same thing off screens that Klay does, but he also has the handle, right? Who's guarding him? Who is the Cavaliers starting? Who's going to be playing point guard? Who's going to guard him? Calderon hasn't really been playing. George Hill is a solid player. George Hill cannot guard Steph Curry for a 48-minute game, in my opinion. I don't think he can. We're going to find out because he's going to have to. LeBron can't guard him and guard KD. And then you can throw a Jeff Green in there. Who's Kevin Love guarding? What are the Cavs going to do when the Warriors start hunting those mismatches? The same way that Houston did. I like the way that Houston hunted the mismatches for the one-on-one matchups, and it was working until they started missing three-pointers. The Warriors are going to do that against the Cavs. Okay, so who is, let's say you get a guy like George Hill. They try to isolate him. Who can he guard? If Steph Curry or KD has that ball up top and they run the play to set up a one-on-one with those guys, who's Kevin Love going to guard? Who is a George Hill going to guard? Maybe J.R. Smith can guard. He can't guard KD. Maybe he could do a little bit on Steph Curry. I mean, LeBron can hold his own. That's the guy they'll let LeBron just not have to guard anymore. But they're going to isolate everybody else that the Cavs put on the court. Maybe a Tristan Thompson. He gives good effort on defense. But who else do the Cavs have defensively? They don't have 5 guys that they can put on the floor that, all right, no matter who gets isolated, we good. We know this guy can get a stop on a couple of plays. They don't have it. So I just don't. I'm trying to figure out a way logically to make this prediction interesting other than it's saying what any logical basketball person would say right now was the Warriors going to win this series in 5 games. I would give it maybe 6 because LeBron is just so good. Because LeBron's so good, maybe the Cavs can win 2 games. If they could only win 1 last year, I can't really see how they can win more than maybe 2 this season. Because look, a couple shots could have changed a game last year, like KD hitting that pull-up 3 on LeBron in what game is that? Game 3 or game 4 last year? So I will say, just to make this interesting, I'm telling y'all now, I'm only saying this to make it interesting, that the Warriors will win this series in 6. As long as they're barring injuries. Now, if there's an injury to somebody on the Warriors, such as Steph Curry or KD, now this whole prediction goes out of the window. I might have to make a new one. But barring that, if everybody is what they are as of tonight, Monday night, after Game 7 ended, I'm really thinking it'll be 5. I wouldn't be super surprised if it's a sweep, but I'm going to give LeBron enough respect to say he's not going to get swept this year in the finals because he's just that good. But I wouldn't be shocked if he did. I'll say 5 is my logical pick, but I'm going to make it interesting, and I'm going on the record saying Warriors in 6. I just don't see a way that the Cavs can win this series. LeBron James has shown that it's hard to go that hard for 48 minutes when you got to do it on offense and defense against a team like this where the closest thing to LeBron, being Kevin Durant, is on the other team. Like, it was anybody other than Kevin Durant in that 3 spot on this team, I could see the Cavs having a chance to win. And I would make a video that made it sound like the Cavs were going to win. I would predict the Cavs would win, just to make it interesting. But this team, I'm sorry, I can't see a way to make this interesting. Now, LeBron makes me like an idiot now. Let it be known, I did pick the Cavs each of the last 3 years. I picked them in 2015. I picked them in 2016 to win in 6. They won in 7. I picked them last year and they lost in 5. Now this year I'm going to go against them. I got to go with the Warriors this year. This is my first year picking the Warriors in the finals. Out of all these years, I just can't logically come up with a reason to think that the Cavs have a chance. I don't know how many times I got to say that, but that's that. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How many games is this series going to go? Who's going to win? And why are they going to win? And please, somebody tell me. Someone in the comments let me know. What way possible can the Cavs win this series? What needs to happen? Other than injuries, what needs to happen for the Cavs to actually win this series? I'm racking my brain trying to figure out how they could do it. I don't see the defense. I don't see them having even the firepower offensively. And with LeBron being the man, he don't have the energy to do it all game, man. He still got to deal with a guy like KD. Y'all let me know. I'm trying to figure it out. Let's enjoy the finals regardless. It's still basketball. We can't be mad at it. If the Warriors win the championship, they become like 3 championships in 4 years. That's like a dynasty to me, even though they added KD in the middle of it. But that's a whole different conversation. That's it. I'm going to give a review after every finals game like I have been doing. So after Game 1 on Thursday, I'm going to do a review. And after every game, I'm going to do a review of that game. Hopefully this shit is interesting. Man, I don't want this to be a boring finals. The NBA playoffs have been kind of boring this year. 2 Game 7s was hot. Game 7, Cleveland-Boston was great. This Game 7 and Game 6, both were great. Game 5, this whole series was actually pretty good, except for the first couple games in the Western Conference. So hopefully we get some interesting games for the finals. We know everybody's going to be watching anyway. Let's make this interesting. Y'all tell me how the Cavs can make this series interesting. Please help me out, because I can't figure it out. Work on your game. Let's enjoy the finals. DreAllDay.com.